Every year, it feels like we lose a really beloved podcast completely out of the blue. Last year, we lost Frenemies after Trisha and Ethan had that huge falling out. And this year, we're losing Violating Community Guidelines. Fans of the podcast were really shocked when a statement was released out of nowhere claiming the podcast was over. Now fans are wondering if some sort of drama went down, and that's why it ended so suddenly without any real explanation. It's a mess, so let's get into it. As I'm sure most of you already know, Violating Community Guidelines is a podcast hosted by Brittany Broski and Sarah Schauer. The podcast only started like 11 months ago, and it's already had such a huge success in that short amount of time. They have 251,000 subscribers on YouTube, and every episode gets anywhere from like 200,000 views to nearly 1 million, and that's only on YouTube. The whole idea for the podcast is them diving into different corners of the internet. They've done everything from AI influencers, furries, and probably anything you can think of. They've built themselves a really strong community from their following on TikTok, and their fans really loved and looked forward to new episodes. A few days ago, they posted a new episode on parasocial relationships, and at first, most people thought it was just another episode. At the end of the episode, they told everyone to subscribe to them, they mentioned which platforms you could find their podcast on, and there were absolutely no signs of that being the last episode.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, thanks, guys.
Yeah, this has been Violating Community Guidelines.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give us 5 stars. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, your grandma's podcast, your grandpa's podcast. And despite everything we just said, we do love and appreciate you.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.
That's until the podcast released a statement to their community tab, pretty much saying that that was the last episode and it was done for good. It reads, "Well, you made it. The very final episode of Violating Community Guidelines. We want to thank all you weirdos for joining us on this wild ride through the wackiest corners of the internet. It's been real. But fear not, we have one final parting gift for all you real weirdos out there. From December 19th, we're releasing a series of bonus episodes recorded from the road to fill your holiday dose of VCG. So subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts from to be notified when they come out. And to keep up with us next year, follow Brittany Broski and Sarah Schauer for more cousin content. Merry Christmas and happy holidays." Now, people were extremely confused, and rightfully so. This was a really loved podcast. They have so many fans, they get really great views, and to just post an episode where you don't even address that episode is going to be the end felt kind of wrong. The fact that they ended it by telling everyone to subscribe to almost felt like they didn't know that that would be the end, and it had people thinking that maybe something went down behind the scenes. Here's what people had to say. "If the network cut y'all, please find a way to do this podcast at home. Y'all could be lying in bed. We don't care. We just want it to keep going." It's strange that the actual end of the podcast barely mentions it and still encourages us to subscribe. Really gives the impression that it was not intended to be the last episode as they filmed it and was only decided after the fact. Since they did not say anything in the podcast about this being the last episode, my guess, it was something out of their hands, so they quit so abruptly. A lot of people started to wonder if Brittany and Sarah had some sort of falling out, because that's normally the case when it comes to podcasts ending. Working with friends can get really messy, and we've lost a lot of really great podcasts to friendship fallouts. Fans' theories about the fallout only grew stronger when Sarah started tweeting about the podcast ending. She wrote, "I want to tweet vague things. I want to give y'all a big old glance and I want you to get the gist, but we're just gonna have to wait a bit. Let's all just relax right now." Someone assumed that the reason it was ending was because Studio 71 dropped them, but Sarah denied that, writing, "Oh, they didn't." She also replied to another person and said, "It's done." As for Brittany, her posts about the podcast ending were more, I guess, planned and PR, you could say. Brittany seemed more okay with the podcast ending and pretty much just reposted her statement onto Instagram, and that was that. The other day, Brittany actually went on the H3 podcast, and even though she didn't talk about why her podcast with Sarah was ending, she did end up talking about her plans for the future. Brittany explained that for a while now, she's had this dream to host her own show, and it's now in the works.
Are you working on anything big right now?
Oh my God. I am.
That
There
you
we
can
go.
talk about? Thank you, Sam.
I am. So I've talked about.
Want us to clear it?
Oh no, I'll eat it.
Oh.
I wouldn't worry about it. I've talked about for a long time how I want to have my own hot ones. Like I want to do my own hot.
You want to host a show?
Yeah, I want to host a show that isn't like.
So you don't want to do like hot ones, or you want to do like a talk show that has like a shtick like that?
Period.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I'm that's in the works. Is I'm doing my own show that has its own. It's celebrity guest focused, and we've already booked some celebrity guests. Very excited, and so look for that in the new year.
How fun.
Yeah.
Are you working with like a production company or?
Totally self-produced.
Okay, we love that.
I don't want to be beholden to anyone. You know, if there's a month where I can't do a video, I shouldn't have to be like, yeah, it's totally. We're filming it in my spare bedroom.
Oh wow.
In my house.
Are you building a set and stuff?
That's so exciting.
It's gonna be slay. So.
So I'm gonna go ahead and assume that might be the reason the show is coming to an end. Brittany has built herself such a massive platform on TikTok, and she probably wants to take advantage of all these opportunities being presented to her. She said that she's had this idea for a while now, and with how quick internet fame seems to come and go, I bet she's like, it's now or never. Having a show run by herself where she can interview celebrities is a great way for her to break out even more from TikTok, so it sounds like a great idea for her. Of course, that still doesn't answer the question of why did the other podcasts end out of nowhere. It would have made so much more sense to people if the last episode was them sitting down and actually talking about that being it. Since it was just a normal episode, it's made people speculate about something happening either with a network or with their friendship. Obviously, we don't have the answer to that until one of them comes out and explains what happened, but hopefully everything is okay between them. If it's a situation where Sarah didn't want the podcast to end and she felt a bit betrayed by Brittany going off and doing this new show alone, I think that's understandable as well. They built a really great show together, and it's sad that it has to come to an end, but at the same time, I think Brittany also has the right to follow her heart and do what she wants to do. Being able to create your own show is such a huge achievement, and I don't think anyone should be mad at Brittany for ending a great podcast to pursue her dream. Hopefully we're all just overreacting and nothing happened between them, and it has more to do with like contracts or something. A lot of fans are just hoping that they can come together here and there and do like a mini podcast together. It doesn't even have to be some structured podcast. A lot of people are saying that they just want to see them together and at least have the podcast continue on in some form. Brittany told Ethan that she's doing this all on her own. She doesn't have any managers or team behind her controlling what she does on this new show. So hopefully her and Sarah getting together and maybe doing something in the future could still be an option for them. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about everything down below. Do you think something went down behind the scenes and that's why it ended out of nowhere? Or do you think people are reading too much into it and everything is probably fine between them? Let me know, and I'll see you next time.